Hello, English enthusiast! Are you ready for another day of learning English? If yes, let's dive into it. Today you will learn the other 3 methods in word formation, and our objectives for today are: understand how new words are created through the processes of acronym, clipping, and compounding. Second, identify and classify the methods of word formation, focusing on the processes of acronym, clipping, and compounding. Third, recognize the significance of words by comparing different word formation processes to gain insight into language structure. Now that we have stated our objectives, let's have a recap of our last discussion. From the last discussion, you have learned about word formation, which is the creation of a new word through word processes. Lonely transformed into loneliness with just an additional word ness, with the magic of derivation, which is the creation of another word through affixes. The word clean transformed into another meaning when used in different contexts. Clean your room, a verb, versus I like a clean room, as an adjective that describes the state of the room, and that is conversion. It creates a new word from identical ones. And now we have learned the other 2 word processes, the derivation and conversion. What are the other 3 word processes? Before I answer your question, I will show you some words and you can guess how these words are formed. CCTV. Is this a word? Of course it's a word. But does it have a longer term or it's just CCTV? CCTV has a longer term and it literally means closed circuit television. How about taxi? Does it have a longer term? I have a feeling that you already know this, as taxi is a shorter term for taxi cab. Can you see how people removed the word cab and retained taxi? Or the word sweetheart. How many words do you think are there? 1, 2, or 3? Sweet plus heart becomes sweetheart. Hence, there are 2 words. Amazing, right? Yet, why do we need to talk about these words? It's because these words are examples of the word processes that we are going to learn today. CCTV, or closed circuit television, is an example of an acronym. Taxi, or taxicab, is clipping, and sweetheart is compounding. Now, without further ado, let's dive into the continuation of the word processes to understand how new words are created through the processes of acronym, clipping, and compounding. First off, acronym. Acronym is a type of an abbreviation, a shortened form of a word or phrase, where new word is formed by taking and combining the first letters of a series of words. Acronym, as you know, is an abbreviation. Can you imagine yourself saying, "We have closed circuit television at school"? It is too long, and that is why there is an acronym, as this is the shorter version of the words. You usually use this in memos, emails, and texts, and that lets you save time and effort in expressing yourself or sending your messages. Let's move on to the examples. So here we can see YOLO, which means you only live once. Next is SIM, which means subscriber identity module. And did you know that SCUBA stands for self-contained underwater breathing apparatus? And these are examples of an acronym. The second word process is CLIP. Clipping refers to a word formation process where a longer word is shortened or clipped without changing the original meaning. From our example earlier, which is taxi cab is removed, but even if it is removed, the meaning still does not change. It is still a taxi. So here are the examples. Examination. When you remove the ination, it becomes exam. The word photo is the result of removing graph in photograph. The word gymnasium. When you remove the nasium, it becomes gym. The third word process, compounding, occurs when two or more words are joined to make a new word out of existing words. The last word processes from clipping, where it requires us to remove some parts, and compounding, we combine words without removing some parts of the original word. From our example earlier, sweetheart, we did not remove any part of the word sweet to complete the word sweetheart, vice versa to the word heart. However, in combining these words, we have created a new word and completely changed its meaning. To further understand compounding, when you combine black and board, you will have blackboard. When you combine sweat and shirt, you have sweatshirt. Before we end our lecture, we can synthesize that word formation and word processes lets you save time and effort in speaking or expressing yourself. Communicating efficiently often requires simplifying language, especially when we are dealing with long or complex terms. For instances, saying subscriber identity module, influenza, feels unnecessarily troublesome in daily conversations. Through word formation, we can create simpler terms, which can make communication more accessible and efficient. Second, we can synthesize that you can create new words that can be beneficial and meaningful. This lecture not only reduces the effort required in speaking, but also lets you create words that can enhance clarity. As you know, shorter terms are often easier to understand and remember. And in our fast-paced world, the ability to adapt language through word formation is essential for everyday life. Here are the references used in this lesson video. Thank you for listening, English enthusiast. We hope that you have learned and can use the knowledge you have acquired in this lecture.